forceful forward pack and a really strong goal line defence that the Blues have been putting out there to overcome it and then so consistently control the game to a point where you had a chance to win it so late on.
Yeah.
To me, they totally deserved what they got from this game, but it does set up a really enticing decider because this Blues side have got sort of a power and a presence that you haven't felt like from a side. Like you've seen bits of magic in games like the Haynes series a few years ago and stuff, but you've not seen it to this level of the team coming together for 10 years or more.
So you think they're going to roll into Brisbane and win?
I do, although obviously the kicker of like Cooper Cronk's last rep game Maroons game.
Yeah, because you suspect him in the World Cup.
And possibly the same for Smith and stuff. There's always those things with this Queensland side. Every year there's people bowing out after legendary rep careers. So it's an interesting one to see, but we will see, and I'm going to be very excited.
There you go. Okay, round 16 of NRL action then saw the New Zealand Warriors beat the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs by 21 points to 14.
Yeah, James Graham 112 metres in losing effort.
West Tigers defeated at home 14 points to 26 by the Gold Coast Titans.
And 41 tackles from Joe Greenwood was a cornerstone in that effort from the Titans.
North Queensland Cowboys got a 14 points to 12 win over the Penrith Panthers. Canberra Raiders defeated at home 20 points to 30 by the Brisbane Broncos, Mark.
Yeah, and that was despite the best efforts of Josh Hodgson with 40 tackles. Elliot Whitehead played in the game too, put reasonable numbers up, but nothing outstanding.
Golden Point victory for the Sydney Roosters 25 to 24 over the Melbourne Storm. St George Illawarra Dragons were 32 points to 25 winners over the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, and whilst the Fences took a break, Gareth Widdop didn't. 4 try assists from him in this one. He's back in form, you would suggest.
My Sharkies were beaten 18 points to 35 at home against the Manly Sea Eagles.
Yeah, in Mortimer's last game in the NRL.
There you go, before he heads on to exciting new pastures in Leigh.
Yeah, so all that means the Storm stay top. They are 2 points ahead of the Roosters, who are then in turn 2 points ahead of the Broncos, the Sea Eagles and the Shark, all on 22. That win for Manly put them in the top 4 over the Sharks. Next come the Dragons and the Broncos on 20 points, and the Eels make up the top 8 on 18 points. Panthers and Warriors sit just outside on 16, followed by a bunch of teams with British interests. Raiders, Rabbitohs, Bulldogs, all on 14, all still in the hunt. Titans on 12 are the last side with any top 8 chances. The Knights and West Tigers are the bottom 2 on 8 points each.
There you go. So that is the world of rugby league well and truly covered. Let's bring you our predictions now as we look forward to round 20 of Super League. So, round 20 of Super League, Mark, and we start on Thursday night down at Headingley as Leeds Rhinos take on St Helens, looking to improve upon or carry on from their pants-pulling escapade against Salford. How do you see this one working out?
Well, at this stage, we can only guess that both sides are going to be missing some influential players. I think, though, with Leeds, they're missing the leader. Okay, you know, he wasn't last week, but in principle he has been. He's been a lot better this year than he was last season. Let's not take that away from Danny Maguire. And the leader in the defensive line, I'd say, in Jamie Jones Buchanan. I think that leaves a bigger gap for them than just Percival missing out for St Helens. I think, although Saints are kind of left with no centres, so. Unless something's resolved midweek with the...
Zeb tiring at the centres,
unless something's resolved midweek with the situation involving Barber, and then they might do something with Lomax in the centres or Barber in the... I don't know. Because is the hearing this midweek or is it next midweek?
I think it's this week, isn't it?
Right. Either way, if he gets to play, then that'll be a boost for them too. But I still think St Helens anyway, because I think the misses are bigger for Leeds, and... It's going to be a lot of errors in this game, I'm going to call that.
Yeah.
But 28-20 in favour of the visitors for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Listen, well, look, when Leeds and Saints face off, you usually expect a bit of a classic, don't you? It's been a grand final numerous times. It's two, historic sides in terms of Super League. But I'll say I'm uninspired, but I don't expect a classic. I think Leeds are going to fix up their offence this week. I know they're missing Maguire, but I think that's going to be something to focus on because they weren't lacking in defensive effort against Castleford. And I don't think St Helens are as good in attack as Castleford. So if Leeds can get their attack to click a bit more, then I can see Leeds getting a win. I'm going 28 points to 14 in favour of the Rhinos. Which takes us to Friday night, Mark, where the game I'm excited to see sees Castleford taking on Hull. First versus second, down at the Jungle. I'm going to go for a Castleford victory because it's Castleford at home. And according to what the Hull FC fans that we've got in touch with us are telling us, whilst they were impressive in terms of the overall scoreline, far from impressive in terms of their own performance against Wakefield last time out. So 36 points to 20 for me in favour of the Tigers. What say ye?
Well, one thing Hull have been able to do this season is beat Castleford.
True.
However, those wins have come at Hull.
Yeah.
And Castleford at home have been supreme. Mm-hmm. I just think what Castleford were able to show against Leeds was they could do the backbone stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to need that. And they had a few forwards coming back in, haven't they? Lon Patrick's had a couple of games under his belt now. Gadwin Springer's been back in the side. Massey, Lynch, Millington. You're talking about... And they threw Milner in at front row, but I don't think he really played front row. I still think he played 13. I think they just put him on the team sheet in the front row from what I watched of the game. But he played no differently to he's played all year.
No.
But they're trying to put something more forceful in there. Jesse Senna-Lefeo's back in the side as well. I think the forward pack's big enough and strong enough at this stage to go against the Hull FC pack, whereas it might not have been 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, cast 27-18, but this could be a cracker.
Yeah, it could be a really good game in prospects, and I hope it is.
Physical and intense, I think.
Yeah.
But the more intense it is, I think the more Hull FC might struggle at the back end.
Possibly so. Saturday afternoon then, Catalan Dragons take on Leigh Centurions. What do you reckon?
I flipped a mental coin and landed on the home side. Yeah. 30 points to 20.
Yeah, these are two teams playing some pretty dire rugby league at the minute, and so all I've decided to do is credit Steve McNamara with the first win as their new coach. 18 points to 12 in favour of the Dragons, but it wouldn't surprise me if Leigh fucking went there and put... Do you know what? I don't see Catalan putting a big score on Leigh, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility for Leigh to go there and just do some utter damage to them, because Catalan are... do you know what I mean? Can you just sort of... I don't say it's going to happen, but, it's not... I wouldn't raise an eyebrow too much if Leigh went and put 40 points on them, because Catalan are pretty dreadful.
I see what you mean. I think it could go either way, couldn't it? I'm going home side.
Catalan for me as well. Okay, Saturday tea time at 6:30 then sees Wakefield take on Warrington down at Bellevue now. Warrington did get the win over Catalan Dragons, but let's not pull any punches. The Dragons are not an impressive side at the moment, and Wakefield, by all accounts, were in the fight over at Hull. So with some bodies coming back for Wakefield, maybe Fafita's back in the side as well, I'm going to go with a Wakefield win.
Is Fafita due back?
I think so, yeah. If not, I'm still sticking to my guns. I'm going 24 points to 12 in favour of Wakey.
I still go Wakefield as well. I think there could be some points in this game. I don't think defences will be on top, but I think Warrington have shown a great tendency of making too many errors in crucial positions, and away from home they're not going to go for you when it's borderline forward passes. Not as much anyway, because whilst obviously the referees are incredibly biased, they're also subject to human nature, and I think often that finds you making marginal calls for home sides late in games or whatever. I don't know. I think
the referees are biased, man.
32-24. Well, they're bent because the RFL wants your team to lose.
I hate you all.
But 32-24 for Wakefield. I'm going.
Fantastic. Two Sunday afternoon fixtures, very traditional of the RFL. To put these on. Salford take on Huddersfield at the AJ Bell. What do you reckon?
Tough one to call, with Huddersfield being relatively in good nick. Yeah, they weren't fluently attacking to their best against Wigan, but they still had threatening players down the middle and down that right edge of theirs. I'm not sure who might come back into this for Huddersfield yet at this stage, because obviously there's Turner, there's Memo, then there's Rankin on a plane. All potentials which would improve that side from the side that played against Wigan.
Actually, I think Memo's out for about another 4 weeks, mate.
Right, okay.
So knock these out of the heat.
So I don't know what the length of Turner's injury is.
No.
But Rankin maybe will come in, and that would offer something. Who we could, and then maybe switch McIntosh to the wing, Murphy to the centre, throw Gaskell in the halves if Ridyard's still out. I think there's potential there. But Salford, if Salford can make no errors against this Huddersfield side, I think they'll just about move those players around enough in that Huddersfield pack to make enough spaces to get through and score some points. So 25-18 in favour of Salford.
I agree, but a bit of a closer scoreline. I've gone 20 points to 18 in favour of Salford. I think Memo's going to prove to be a fairly big miss over the next 3 or 4 weeks for Huddersfield, as he almost did on Friday night. And Daniel McIntosh at fullback, he's definitely not the answer to that question.
McIntosh had a couple of errors in him this week. Errors that I'd not seen from him in the big spell he had earlier on in the season. Lapses of concentration more than anything. But maybe he'd resolve those things because they've happened to him now, but we'll see. Similar
packs, similar productive prop forwards for both sides. I think the difference is going to be coming in attacking flair and execution, and Salford have that within their structures to stretch out Huddersfield a bit more than Huddersfield do to Salford. So slender win for the Red Devils. Final game of the weekend, and your Wigan Warriors take on the Widnes Vikings. I'm not being tactical when I said that I think your lot will win. I think it'll be a narrow one. I'd like to see Widnes put up a good fight against you because, they're improving now and they're showing that what they were missing for much of the season was a capable halfback to guide them around and add some cohesion to the work that gets done in front of and behind the halfback. And in Rangi Chase, they've got someone who can do that for them. So I fancy Widnes to give you a bit of a test here. I'm going 21 points to 19, so 2 drop goals. Mostly because I didn't want to pick the same scoreline as the one that was going on at Salford. I think you lot will have just about enough. Now that your second row is back and clicking with Bateman and one of the Liams going in there, that is a fabulous second row. George Williams having a great season and he gets on the pitch.
He's not playing great at the moment, George.
I think so. Everything I see in highlights, he's involved and
he is
doing damage.
But so he's not making as much happen as he was doing earlier on in the year. But I also think Leilai's not doing great work alongside him. But with Sam Tompkins back,
that's it.
And Loughlin's
back in that squad.
You get more from you.
Gelling playing again.
Well, that's what I was going to say. See, have you given me a score that you think it's going to be?
21-19, 2 drop goals.
I think it's going to be 30 points to 16 to Wigan. If Rangi Chase's ban holds up, he ain't playing. So all that nice talk is just that.
It's void, isn't it?
And then contributing to that, Gelling is expected to be back for Wigan. Club is expected to be back for Wigan. That's been a big miss in the forward pack. So I do anticipate that maybe we'll have a bit more in the forwards to hold things off and work a bit better there. A bit more experience too in that. And then we've got enough quality out wide, haven't we? We've not been, although we only scored 3 tries against the Giants, we've not been struggling necessarily to score tries. Bad attacking play against the Giants, but other than that, we've scored a lot of tries in the last few weeks. So, I'm going to go 30-16 Wigan.
Fantastic. Well, don't forget to make your Super Brew predictions or changes to your Dream Team lineups, and you can follow all this weekend's action as it happens over Twitter, thanks to our friends at SL Clubs. Championship game of the week. What have you picked out for us, Mark?
Well, it's not London against London away at Hull KR, the top 2. Because,
right. Is that a bit obvious?
Yeah, but also, at this stage,
it doesn't change right a lot, does it?
Unless, Hull KR we expect to win anyway. Plus, it doesn't change a great deal with London now having a bit of an advantage in second place anyway, in either the top 2. Whether you're first or second makes no jot of difference, really.
Nope.
Dewsbury against Rochdale is a bigger game for me, down at the bottom.
Massive.
Now it's going to be there's a run of big games up until the split at the bottom, so because there's a lot of the lower down teams playing each other, and this starts that run. With Rochdale on a bit of a form, and Dewsbury finding some form after making a few signings and whatnot. They've won 4 of the last 5 or something like that. So that will be interesting to see. I think that's the one I've picked out.
Superb. League 1 game of the week then.
Doncaster and Newcastle are tied together on level points. A win for either will really push themselves into a playoff. Into the final playoff spot contention after the Super 8s, and after they do the top 8 they have a top 5 playoff system, don't they? So I think and the round, there's only a few rounds